So I walked the 2.5 miles back to where the trail meets. I decided to keep walking past the actual junction. A couple more streets up, went to the Walmart, grabbed a few things. I got a knife because I lost mine. And I'm probably gonna cut a hole in my shoe because it's tight around my like toe joint. And then some snacks, and I bought some insoles and some socks. Trying to get my feet situation under control. Thought about buying some shoes, but they honestly, I mean, they were like $25 and they just looked cheap, like they'd fall apart and wouldn't actually be any more comfortable and all that. So I'm gonna see how these hold up the next couple of days, and or maybe just the next few hours. There's another Hibbett Sports several miles down the road at the city of Kissimmee, and although I don't really want to buy another pair of shoes since these are like only less than 150 miles on them, I might have to. So we'll see. This is the actual trail up here I'm walking back on. It's going to be another day of fully road walking. Not sure exactly how far I'm going to go. The plan is about 22, well, with the extra non-trail miles, it'll be like 24, 25, but a little bit of a late start. Left the hotel at like 7, and now I'm just getting onto the official trail. It's almost 9 o'clock, so we'll see. This is my breakfast, and I'm sitting here side of the road about to do some shoe surgery. This part right here is what's really tight, and then even a little bit right there. So I was thinking about throwing these out anyway, but I figured I'll go ahead and try to salvage them. I'm gonna just basically cut a slit here to kind of open this up and relieve some of the pressure. My left one doesn't feel that bad, so I don't know if they got different size feet or what, but this is the before, and if this doesn't work, I'll just go back to the Crocs and end up buying some new ones later on, maybe. Also partially why I bought this. It's a cheap like $7 knife from Walmart to do stuff like this. And then also, these are the new insoles. I had to kind of cut those to fit. So here's the aftermath. You can see I kind of nicked myself, but we'll see how that works. So this whole side of the road here is under construction, but it's actually kind of nice because it's a super wide shoulder. It's like all this soft dirt to walk on. You're pretty far from the traffic, so the construction gave way after maybe a couple of miles, and since then it's been just road walking, pretty like residential areas. There have been areas like this, these little ponds, lakes, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it is surrounded by roads and houses and businesses and stuff, but like if you really had to, you know, you could probably go kind of back in there. You know, if you got here at dark and you just had a bivvy, or if you just cowboy camped or something, and you could probably stealth it. But for the most part, there's not really many good spots, and I think there might be coming up here on the left. There's like a pretty big lake that might be something similar to this, but just a lot bigger. So my foot definitely is feeling better. Kind of had to make this bigger. You can see my sock there, but ever since I made it bigger, it's felt like a normal shoe. So I hope that fixes one of the problems I was having. The other problem was just like foot soreness in general. So I bought some like cushioned like gel insoles. Kind of see the lake in there. Because like I had these hiking specific ones, but they're pretty stiff, and I think they're mostly made for like, it's basically a rock plate, and it's supposed to protect your feet from, you know, feeling all the like sharp rocks and twigs and stuff like that. It's not really meant to like cushion your feet on something like this. And then the insoles that came with these shoes I've actually been using. They're not terrible, but you can tell they're just like pretty thin and flimsy. So I'm hoping that those new insoles will reduce the foot soreness. And then like I said, I popped all the blisters, drained them, took the skin off, put ointment and all that. So I think that was part of the problem, was like that extra skin was loose and it was just like rubbing. So now that the skin is gone, I'm hoping that the pain that I felt from that will be gone. And if I'm right, by then today, you know, I'll have a little bit of foot soreness that's like kind of normal, but they won't feel like really uncomfortable. So crossing my fingers that maybe I finally got it fixed. There's a outlet right there, water fountain, and a good view in the shade. So this is a good little spot to hang out. There's benches and trash cans and stuff over there too. So on a map they called this Brinson Park, which that little thing there is basically just a men and women's bathroom. It's a flush bathroom. So just kind of it's not much of a park, but it's definitely a really good spot to hang out. Like I said, it's got a lot of hiker friendly stuff. Definitely not gonna stealth camp around this lake at all. It's very like city park. I've seen like 5 or 6 go-karts or golf carts drive by of like people maintaining the grounds and stuff, and there's houses all along this place. So it's really nice and pretty and like well kept, but you're not gonna stealth camp here. I still haven't figured out or looked up what these birds are, but they're pretty cool. I don't know. They're huge and make weird noises. I forget what road this is, but I got like 6.5 miles of it. It's pretty busy. Shops and residential stuff, apartments. Then you get to like Intersection City, and it like turns off onto an old highway that should be less busy, but I think it's the first spot on the Florida Trail going northbound so far that there may be some aggressive dogs. So we'll see about that. So you try to do the right thing. I was walking back there on the sidewalk because they're doing construction on that side, and then the sidewalk ends. Now you're stuck in the grass, and then they put you over a bridge, and now I'm risking getting hit by cars going across this thing. You know, it's not terrible road walking if you have like a good shoulder or sidewalk or something. But yeah, this is, I just hate how it sucks to walk in America where you can't even get a sidewalk. So when people talk about road walks, this is kind of what I have in mind. It's fairly high speeds. It's busy. There's not a great place to walk. It's very like commercialized, residential, etc. Kind of like how the Eskimos have like a dozen words for all the different types of snow, because like that's their life and it makes a difference, all the subtle differences. Somebody should come up with a system for thru hikers for all the different kinds of road walks. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of road walks, and it's kind of misleading, unintentionally or otherwise, when people say, oh yeah, that road walk, or there's 300 miles of road walks, you know, you're thinking of this, when it might be like Forest Service roads, dirt roads, rural roads, etc. So I've been thinking about it. I think I have a pretty good system figured out. It's not 100% set in stone, but it's a scale from 0 to 5, with the higher numbers being worse. The first one, 0, is a paved bike path, basically, or any kind of paved trail, because it's not technically a road, but in the same way, like, it's kind of the lowest form of a road walk, because you're not on a trail. It is a paved surface. So that's 0. 1 is any dirt or gravel road, you know, like Forest Service roads or fire roads, like out in the woods and stuff like that. Or it could even be like technically like a country rural road if it's dirt or unpaved. So 2 is any paved 2-lane road that is not a freeway, highway, or like major through road. So these are like rural roads that, you know, mostly locals use. They could be like technically like rural residential roads and stuff. 3 are cities. These are places with like intersections and businesses, houses, apartments, stuff like that. 4 is any 2-lane through road or highway, paved. And then 4 is any 4-lane highway, also paved. And both like 4 and 5 are kind of like, you know, 55 miles and up. So those are like the 6 categories. And each category also gets, I guess, one further subdivision. So you would either have like an N or an S identifier. So you could have like a 5S, a 4S, a 3N, etc. Where the S stands for sidewalk or shoulder, and it could really broadly mean a lot of different things, but it's basically like a safe area to walk where you're not in the roadway. And or you could, like, the S could also stand for like safe. So if you had a 5S, that means it's a 4-lane highway, paved, speeds are 55 and up. If it says 5S, that means there is a safe place to walk, like you're not walking on like a narrow shoulder. And then the N just means none or no, no shoulder, etc. Because I think that kind of covers everything. And I think it's a pretty good system. Like I said, I've only been thinking about it for about half an hour, but I think if people started using it, it would be a lot more helpful. And better than just saying, oh, it's a road walk, or it's an easy road or a hard road, etc. A little more precise. Yeah, and I think it's easy to understand. Like, the higher the number, the worse the road walk. But it's also informative to know whether it has a safe place to walk or not. And then if it fluctuates, kind of like this road, sometimes it has a sidewalk, sometimes it doesn't, then you could put like 5 N/S. It means it has both. This is my lunch break. Ravioli, chocolate protein milk, and like a Gatorade electrolyte. I think that is the first orange blaze that I've seen on this entire western corridor. I've been 40 miles or so now, and yeah, that's the first one. Not to say there hasn't been others that I've missed, but going through the city like this, they are few and far between. It's the Intercession City Church of God Church, and it's right here where I'm about to turn off to get off of this 6.5 mile road walk. I point that church out just for the fact that it's right on the trail, if you want to call it that, the road walk anyway. And there's several of them like that you pass. And to me, what makes this like 70 miles of road walking annoying is trying to figure out where you're going to camp, because there's not really any legal stealth spots. And you know, it's no fun paying for hotels for 2 or 3 nights in a row. So if there was just a few of those churches that were aware of the trail and were just let people camp, not even necessarily provide any services, but that would make a huge difference, because you could worry about having to do your other stuff. You know, maybe they could have like a water spigot or something on the outside for you to use, but just camp in their yard, and you would only need maybe 2 or 3 of them to be volunteers or participants across the whole 70 miles. So I would hope that the FTA, would be working on stuff like that. So as you can see, this road doesn't have any kind of shoulder. It is still pretty busy, but there's a railroad track right across, like 40 feet that way. And I think the first chance I get, I mean, I could have got on back a little bit behind me, but I think I'm gonna hop onto that. It is an active railroad. I mean, luckily trains have to stay on the track, and they're pretty loud, right? Yeah, it's supposed to be 1.6 miles on that road through there, and it's just, there's no shoulder, and it's still pretty busy. So I think walking this for 1.5 miles will be actually safer and faster. So definitely put stuff into perspective when you do trails like this, because I was watching a video about the Appalachian Trail and how they're doing reroutes because of the hurricane damage this year. And there's one particular spot where instead of going over a bridge across the river, now there's a 3.6 mile road walk. People were getting upset about it because they wanted a ferry or something across the river, and it just seems kind of silly at this point, because And the 3.6 miles takes you closer to a town that you're gonna resupply at anyway. And it's through like more or less city streets. So it's not like you're walking on a giant interstate for most of it or anything. But yeah, I did 2.5 miles of road walking from the hotel this morning just to get back to the trail. And I mean, I had the option to take an Uber, but to me that kind of just, I don't know, takes some of the fun out of through hiking. It just makes it too easy and some of the adventure out of it. Same thing with people that skip the road walks. Like, I get it, I understand why, but to me it just, I don't know, it takes away from some of the aspect of the hike. And it's just, so people can hike their own hike and everybody's got their own preferences. But yeah, it's just, I think people have kind of blown this one out of proportion. You know, it's not the most fun or scenic trail by any means, but I've heard so many people talk bad about it. The road walks and the dogs and the swamps and stuff. I mean, I had the impression I was going to be getting my feet wet in swamps and stuff almost every other day, seeing alligators and being around them all the time. And the only place I've really seen alligators was the few miles after Big Cypress, and then along some of those dikes going into Clewiston. And you know, that was the only time my feet really got wet. I know there's Bradwell Bay, that's another popular one further north, but yeah, it's just I don't understand why. I can understand why people might not like this trail or they wouldn't want to do it again, but I've heard so many people say they quit because they hated it so much, or they would never do it. This would be the last trail on their list, etc. And I just don't understand that, because it's not that bad. Like I said, today I might see my first aggressive dog, but it's been 300 something miles and I've had zero issues with them. So I think it's kind of like where people talk about, like, they'll post a comment on Far Out saying, oh, I saw a bear here, I saw a snake here. And it's like, well, yeah, you're probably the only person that's ever going to see it, because 5 minutes later it ran off and is completely different spot in the woods now. I get that the dogs are different because, you know, ostensibly they live at a house and they're going to always be in the same spot. But I mean, there's probably circumstances that dictate whether that dog is inside the house or out, depending on the time of the day or day of the week, or maybe I don't know, that dog smelled something that day or was pissed off that day, or who knows. So we'll see if the aggressive dog hype lives up to it, or if it's just kind of another one of those myths that really isn't that big of a deal. Damn. So there's the railroad. I got off of it a little bit early. I think that thing's a little too dangerous, because I was only on it for maybe 20 minutes and a train came both directions moving pretty fast. So you got maybe 5 seconds from the time you hear the horn to get off the tracks. And it's on a curve for most of it, so you don't really have good line of sight like down the tracks to see it coming. So you're relying on them blowing that horn. If they don't do it or you don't hear it, you have very little reaction time to get out of the way. So this is supposed to be where the aggressive dogs start. That sign is a welcome. No trucks on this road. So I have my trekking pole poke dogs. I also have pepper spray, just for an occasion. So I don't know how long the stretch is here, but I will update when I get past it and if anything happens. And it definitely looks like the kind of place that would have aggressive dogs. It's kind of a, I mean, not really in the country, but this feels like more run down. Everything's a mobile home. There's barbed wire on the fences and stuff. So kind of, that back road with the aggressive dogs spits you out on this street. And kind of walk this for a few more miles at least. But I saw 2 dogs on that street that barked at me. Both of them were behind a fence, and both of them were smaller, like from my knee or shorter. And had either one of them been out in the street, I wouldn't have really felt threatened by either one. They're just barking pretty much. They're not like, they didn't look like they wanted to attack me, or that like I didn't feel in danger or anything. So I think some people may confuse aggressive and dangerous as the same thing, and aggressive to them maybe means that they're just barking, or if they're out in the street, maybe they're just following behind at a distance. To me, aggressive means like charging at you, going to bite you. So I didn't see any dogs outside the fences. Almost every property I saw had a fence that a dog could not get through. Granted, almost all of them probably had dogs. I saw all kinds of beware of dog signs. You're on camera, private property, shoot and ask questions later, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, just like country people that don't want to be messed with. I mean, it was a little bit run down. Some of the property had junk. Some of it was overgrown. One of the mobile homes looked like it literally been in a tornado and was abandoned. It was just not well kept. A lot of litter on the side of the road, but it's like maybe a mile. And then, like I said, you get to this public park, and then right after that there's a school. So I mean, it was not bad. Like I said, I think it's like people will say, "Oh, I saw a snake here. Watch out, be careful," and like nobody ever sees that snake again. So yeah, one person, you know, maybe had a bad experience in the past, or they were afraid of dogs or something. But in this particular instance, it was perfectly fine. I just stopped at a gas station, got a like apple Danish and a body armor. Tried to get water there. Water fountains didn't work. I didn't bother with the Coke machine or whatever. Somebody said they had picnic tables and outlets. Saw an outlet on the outside. I didn't see any picnic tables, but I'm still pretty good on battery, and I think I'll be able to charge tonight. So I'm gonna try to make miles instead. I got about 4 miles to like it's basically like a 4-way interchange, kind of in the middle of Orlando-ish. And then I think when I hit that, it'll be close to like 25 miles for the day. And then I gotta do like a 2.3 mile road walk off trail to go south and find a resupply for a couple of days. If I was thinking about it, I would have done it at the Dollar General that I passed not too long ago, because I can't really wait till tomorrow because stores don't really open till like 9 or 10 a.m. And by then, you know, you're 10 miles down the road. And by 10 miles down the road tomorrow, I'll pretty much be out of the city. So I need to resupply tonight. There's a Target on that 2-mile Roadwalk. I'm gonna go in there and grab food. And then, you know, it's gonna put me close to probably 6 or 6:30. It'll be getting dark. There's a KOA across the street. I'm probably gonna end up camping there. It's like $50. I'm pretty sure they'll have space. I didn't really want to go there. I was gonna try to stealth camp tonight a little bit before that. But like I said, I gotta resupply tonight, and I'm not gonna hit a resupply until I get 4 miles on trail. And that was past the stealth spot I wanted to go to. So worst case scenario, there's like 6 hotels there in that area. If the KOA is full, one of those hotels will have something open, because realistically, you know, by the time I go to this Target, resupply and get everything sorted, it's probably gonna be 7 o'clock. I'm not really gonna want to walk. I'm not gonna really want to stealth camp in the city. That's just annoying. But I'm gonna try to stick to my schedule to make it to Inverness by Saturday. So that's the goal. My feet are feeling good. The blister area is fine. We'll see what it looks like when I take my socks off at the end of the night. But cutting that slit definitely helped. And I have some soreness in my heels, but honestly, I think that's just from the road walk and putting in a lot of miles. And it's pretty minor. It'll go away when I wake up. So I'm happy that my feet are happy for once. So I don't think it's this street light. I think it's maybe the one after it is where the trail ends. It doesn't end, but it's where I'm getting off. And then I'm going 2 miles south. Not south of the trail, but actually south. And I'm hoping there's some kind of shoulder or service road, because it looks like a major freeway or something. So either way, I gotta go that way somehow. 2 miles, resupply, and get to that campground. So I'm road walking, kind of late at night. I mean, it's almost sunset, and the Target is like back over there. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get to. But I'm walking on the side of this road, and there's another guy coming my way. He has a backpack on, like there's nothing in it. So I wasn't sure if he was a hiker or not. He kind of looked like one, but we sat there and talked for a few minutes. He took a zero today. He had just came back from the Target, and his name's Stevie Wonder, so I've heard of him. He said he stayed at the River Ranch with Dukes and them, so it's kind of odd. Like, we both really didn't expect to see each other. So he's walking back to one of the hotels on this road. It's where he's staying at. So I'm gonna get my food first, and then I'm gonna go figure out where I'm staying. There's like a hotel for $68, and I think the tent place is like $50. I don't know if that includes like taxes and all that, and all the fees and stuff, but if it's $50 to like stay at a campground and tent versus $68 to get a crappy motel, I might just go for the crappy motel, because value-wise, I think it's a better deal. I can get a shower, sleep in a good bed, kind of look at my feet again, put some more ointment on them, kind of take care of them. I mean, I guess I could kind of do that at the RV, at the campground, but it's easier in a hotel room. So I didn't end up going to Target because the stupid fences here, it makes it a real pain to get to. And there was a Dollar Tree before you get there, so I got $16 worth of stuff. I didn't really spend a lot of time to figure out how many calories it is, and breakfast, lunch, and dinners and all that, but it's just 2 days, so I won't starve. But there is a Dick's Sporting Goods in there, which is you know, it's not the best outdoor store for backpacking, but it's better than like a Walmart. So anyway, I tried to call the campground. They said their hours are until 5 p.m. So I couldn't get a hold of them, and I can't be bothered to walk over there and find an empty office and all that. So there's several cheap hotels. I think it's gonna be like $90. You know, if I wanted to hassle with all the booking it on a third-party site and doing it online and all that, you know, I could probably save maybe 10 or 15 bucks. But at this point, just kind of want to not have to hassle with that. I'm gonna walk into the cheapest rundown looking motel on the side of the road up here and call it a day, and pack this food up, take a shower, charge up, and you know, check on my feet. They feel fine. The top of my foot has started to ache a little bit here at the end of the day, but I think it's probably just because it's been a lot of road walking, a lot of miles, so it feels much better than normal though. So we're making progress on that. You gotta be real careful crossing these streets at night. I was not necessarily crossing this one, but there was the on-ramp that goes onto that freeway back there of people getting on the freeway off of this road. And you know, it's busy and it's hard to see like which lanes people are in, which, if they're going straight, if they're merging. It's just because the headlights kind of glare and they don't really blind you, but it's just hard to judge how fast they're going and what lane they're in. It's just like an optical illusion. And I shot the gap and almost judged it wrong. I was about 1 second from getting hit by a car probably going 50 miles an hour. So, telling you, people worry about alligators and snakes and dogs on this trail, but road walks, especially at night, it's the most dangerous part of this trail by far. So this is the hotel I ended up getting. It's Hampton Inn, which is much nicer than what I usually get, but like I said, the campground, when I called them, they were basically closed. And then I went to the sketchy looking motel across the street, and they had a sign on the front door that said like, it was basically locked, no one was there, you had to call a phone number, and I just wasn't gonna do all that over the phone. So I walked next door to the Hampton Inn. It's like 160 bucks with taxes and everything, so I'm paying like 3 times what I expected compared to the campground, but I guess that's what you get when you don't plan ahead. So the good thing is it has like a hot breakfast with like eggs and omelets and potatoes and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to pig out in the morning before I leave. and enjoy this nice hotel room, because like I said, usually stay in the crappy ones.